Hey folks, this is Scott at the XFed Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to make a quick tomato sauce using my new food mill. I just got this food mill. I made one batch of tomato sauce with it and it turned out great. So now that I've finished experimenting with it, I'm going to show you how to make a nice sauce. But first, you got to get tomatoes fresh off the vine in order to make the sauce. I picked some a few days ago. Right now, I'm going to pick a few more here. These ones are a little monstrous, but they're just getting to the right size. I may leave it so that it reddens up in the windowsill, but one just fell. There we go. I don't have a basket with me, so my shirt's gonna have to do. But I'm gonna grab a bunch of these tomatoes. Look at the size of that. Isn't that nice? We'll add them to the others. I think these are San Marzano. My wife's cousin Tony, who gave me the plants, wasn't too sure, but that's what I think they are. They look like my San Marzano down the road. But I have a few Genovese tomatoes, some San Marzano, and some Amish paste that I'm going to use. The Amish paste are a lot nicer than the Roma tomatoes that I've had in the past. I always grew Romas because it was kind of traditional in my family to make a sauce with Roma tomatoes, but the Amish paste tomatoes are better. That's my opinion. Well, let's bring these. Here, I'll show you this. There we go. Let's get these into the kitchen. Hey folks, well, we're back in the kitchen now, and it's been a while since we've been in the kitchen. You can see it's dark outside, so a few hours have passed since I picked my tomatoes. But now I've got some time here. The house is empty. I'm going to do a little cooking. So I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to core these. Just take the tops out. And I have my compost bucket here. And I'm going to cut these in half. And just put them in the pot here. Got a nice pot here. And I'm going to do something a little bit different than I did previously when I was cooking tomatoes. And that is, I'm just going to keep the skins on and I'm going to throw them right in the pot. Now, if you see anything you don't like, you see a black spot, you see something you don't really like on your tomato, just cut it off. Don't worry about it so much. Not like the whole tomato's bad. I'll take this chunk out of the tomato, but I got the rest of it left and it's perfectly good. Don't worry about it. Throw it in there. It's going to be fine. Look at that. Nice. Okay, that's it. Now I have a pot of tomatoes. These all have their skins on it. The seeds are in there, and I'm just going to put them on the stove and let them cook for a little while. Just put them on the stove, cook them up, and then let them simmer. Now you'll hear it bubbling, so give it a stir. You can see already that it's cooking down and that it's starting to get mushy. See those pieces starting to get mushy. It's going to take a little while. But as you push away the tomatoes, you can see the juice collecting in the bottom. Here, let me show you. You can see down here, look at that juice collecting. That's just coming from the tomatoes. I didn't add any juice to this at all. I didn't add any water at all. That's 100% coming from all the tomatoes. And there's going to be a lot of it before you're done, so don't worry about it. Well, last year I did my sauce a little bit differently. I would cut the tomato after I boiled it and peeled it. I would cut it through the equator and squeeze it to get the seeds out, and then chop it up into so that I could make the sauce. But this year I bought a new addition to the kitchen, which is a food mill. And this is a food mill by Good Grip. It has good grips on it. And if you can see this, you turn the food mill and it forces the tomato with this blade that it has down on the bottom, and it forces it through this grater here. And there are different graters that you can put into the bottom. This is the large one that will help me make sauce. So as you turn this, it forces the tomatoes, which I just stewed, to go through the grater. Let me show you how it works. Now the grater gets put on top of a bowl, and it has these legs that come out from the bottom of it. See those legs fold out there, and you just put it on top of the bowl. And then I'm going to take some tomatoes and I'm going to put them into the grater. Now, these tomatoes have seeds, they have skins on them, but as I turn this, the mechanism forces the tomatoes down into the grater. And every once in a while you feel a chunk of tomato kind of gets smushed down in there. Now you can back it up a little bit and then go at it again if you want. And then back it up and then go again. And you can see from here that there's some residue going in here, and that's going to be your tomato sauce. Now, every once in a while, you got to take out what's in here, the skin and the seeds. You got to take that out. But I'm going to keep going here and see how much tomato sauce I can get out of this pot of stewed down tomatoes. Now I'm using a slotted spoon because I want as much of the water as possible to come out of this sauce. I want it thick, I don't want it watery. And since tomatoes are 85% water, there's a lot of water to be had here. And we don't want that in our sauce. Still going to be watery enough, we're going to be fine. This takes a little time, it takes a little patience, but I like it better than what we did last year. I've done this once already this year, and I made a bunch of tomato sauce, which is already gone. So I don't know how much I'm going to get from the rest of the season. Now when you're done with the food mill, take the grinder part with the handle and make sure you rinse that off pretty quickly. You don't want tomatoes to dry on here. Ask me how I know. Rinse it off quickly. I take the leftover skin and seeds and I give that to my chickens. Now if you look here on the stove, you'll see that there is a lot of juice left over. Here we go. Take a look there. Now this I will also give to my chickens. So it's just tomato water, essentially, tomato juice. And this is the thicker pulp. It still has quite a bit of water in it. So since it's late tonight, I'm going to put this in the fridge, and then tomorrow I'll put it on the stove and cook it down. And it'll make a nice tomato sauce once I add some spices to it. Looks pretty good, huh? Well, it's the next day, and it's a bit of a cloudy day, but I was out in the garden earlier picking some root vegetables and looking at all the squashes that we have out there. But if I turn around real quick, what I'm interested in is picking the sage here and thyme, and especially the basil. Look at that. So I'm going to pick a bunch of that. We're going to put it in the sauce. Nothing like fresh herbs. Well, the herbs are here in the sauce, and it's been reducing down for a while. And look at how nice and thick that is. That's how I like my sauce. Some meatballs in there would be just fine with me too. We'll take care of that later. But I hope you learned something today about making sauce. This tomato sauce is all fresh from the garden, the herbs and the tomatoes that are in it. And I got a chance to use my new food mill in order to make it, and it worked out just great. So for now, this is Scott from the X-Fed Homestead Kitchen. We'll see you next time.